I think that any interpretation of a call for internal elections as an attack is a strange interpretation. As a matter of fact, I saw a number of press releases coming from my colleagues saying that they support Mrs. Prasad-Bissessar. I too support Mrs. Prasad-Bissessar because she is the duly elected political leader of the United National Congress. But to use your positions, to use any positions if you are currently on the executive, that you who would have benefited from an internal election to hold that position, to use that space and now say that internal elections are unnecessary, unwarranted, or prevents us from winning a general election when it's called. I think all of those things are a misuse of the space that you hold. You yourself would have benefited from an election. You are duly elected, and that space is understood. The question now that faces us is that we are aware that general elections are due in 2025. Even if they are called early, I mean, you would recall 2010, the UNC had internal elections in January 24th of 2010, and there was a general election May 24th of 2010, where a coalition government took the helm, Mrs. Prasad-Bissessar's coalition government. And so I think it is really forgetting where we've come from if you think that the United National Congress is not resilient enough to face its internal processes and still come out on top in a general election. I mean, furthermore, the question of whether or not it should be seen as an attack on the current leadership, the best way to show that you support Mrs. Prasad-Bissessar is to also call for the internal election so that you can support her with your vote. Supporting her with a press release is inconsequential. The best way to show your support for a political entity is to be able to vote for them. So I think, after the weekend, we would have seen and heard a lot. The key takeaways, I think, that we must come forward with as a nation, as United National Congress members, is that we ought not to be afraid of our internal processes. We ought not to tell or transmit to the population that securing democracy within your own party, facing your party members and articulating your policies clearly and directly to party members and the nation at large, that those things weaken your chances in an election. Those are the very things that ought to strengthen our chances at an election, that we are able to be within our communities, speaking to our people, discussing the things that will take us forward, adopting strategies and mechanisms from within the bosom of the United National Congress to change what we offer the population come 2025 or whenever the general elections are called. I think an internal election can only seek to invigorate and create a political discourse that will take us into the future. And I think if we look at it from that perspective, Mr. Parry, it would be very difficult to disagree with this morning.
Indeed. And